Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, welcome to the Everything and Nothing Show. I'm just one of your hostess with the mostest, the genetic jackhammer, the CEO of the most entertainment sports at this side of the East Coast, West Coast, and everything in between.
What?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of Vince McMahon style of intro, and all I had was genetic jackhammer, and I wanted to go on top of that. Anyway, I'm just one of your hosts with the mostest, Clayton Kisko, and of course, accompanied by the rest of the Maelstrom gamers. We have with us on this podcast today the A-Train, the Canadian sensation, Alan Tollner. That's Canadian for welcome, and I'm really happy to be here.
That's not how it works.
Next up, we have A.K.A. Backdoor, A.K.A. Slim Trim, A.K.A. Slim Jim, Rocco Avellino.
I don't know what my nickname's going to be anymore. A.K.A. Water Bottle.
It's always
AKA
Heartthrob, but we just want to have fun with that.
I love A.K.A. like Blue Ears.
That's cool.
It works. Oh, I like it.
Oh, Beats by Dre.
And next up, we have the wild card, the man formerly known as the Enigma, Ian Kane.
What's going on, fellas?
Oh, that was a weak one.
That was a weak battle.
Okay.
That was the best.
There you go. Yeah, you got to really dip it. Yeah,
There you go.
That's pretty good.
And lastly, we have a very special guest with us today on the Everything and Nothing Show. It is Yukiko from Yukiko Draws and Intergalactic Circus under the Superhouse Umbrella Podcast. Welcome, Yukiko.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yes, it is our honor and pleasure to have you on here. So we're really happy and excited to kind of pick your brain, ask you some questions, and just have fun with you.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's good.
Scary sounding.
So, for those of you guys hopping on, don't know the format of the show, it's pretty simple. I'll explain it really quickly. Us Maelstrom gamers, every week we hop on a Skype. We each bring a topic for our discussion, but more importantly, for your entertainment. And each of those topics are broken out day by day, Monday through Friday, and put on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Maelstrom Gamers channel. And you can get all of those Monday through Friday. And on Saturday, all of them are wrapped up to a full episode. It's all free, and it's all there every week on the dot. If you like that and you want to support us, you can get them a little bit early, as well as other goodies on Patreon.com/Maelstrom Gamers. As little as $1 can get you some really great stuff. We just changed it recently. The Patreon.com now will give you, for the $1, put your hat in the ring, and you'll be randomly drawn, and a topic will be chosen from the winner, essentially. So it used to be getting an episode early, but we found that people weren't really too thrilled or like cared. So I figured we're gonna try this. We're gonna see if people really want to see have their topic be kind of circulated in this. So every month we'll pick one of those Patreon subscribers with just $1. You can get your topic on there. So, and for $2, you can put your hat in the ring twice, which obviously increses your chances of getting your topic on the show.
So what happens for me? Can I put my topic inside there?
No, if you are a Maelstrom gamer, you cannot.
What's going on here?
You get a topic anyway.
Yeah, right.
I guess
exactly.
So, well, that makes sense.
On top of that, if you don't have money, that's okay. There's free ways to support us too. You can go on our Facebook page, you can go on our Twitter, you can go on our YouTube channel, comment, like, subscribe, and follow. All these are great ways to support us for free, and we're really appreciative of it. It spreads the word, it gets more conversation going, because at the end of the day, we just want to entertain you guys. We want to talk about these things that we're talking about, and if we can broaden the conversation and the participants in the conversation, it's a better experience for everyone. So for those of you guys keep doing that, thank you, and keep doing it. And then anybody who's kind of hesitant, jump on. We want to hear from you. And if you like what you hear, like what you see, you can always check us out on youtube.com/Maelstrom Gamers channel, streaming our favorite games such as Division, Smite, League of Legends, Uncharted 4. Those are the main games we're playing right now. So yeah, check us out. And if you want, hop on. You can check out our gamer tags in the description below, and you can friend us and play with you.
Son?
A-Sun is Rocco's, if you haven't figured that out. So guys, let's get started.
You forgot to say we're not the best, but we're not the worst.
No, because we're perfect now. That's
We've evolved, essentially. We have honed our skills for every game across the board.
Immaculate gaming.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
exactly it.
We're changing that to immaculate gamers. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I liked saying that, but Steve was the only one that would try to do it with me, because I would say, yeah, we check us out when we're playing. Look, we're not the best. We're certainly not the worst, but we are. And then everybody would be
entertaining. I wanted
which is really fun to say, but like nobody else says it. Yeah.
Because I wanted to say it.
Aw, all right. Well, thank you,
That's the only reason
Kiko.
I came on.
We'll try to do it again at the end. But yeah, so Steve-O comes back on. Maybe he'll do it with me, and we'll start that up again. Anyway, let's get started with our first topic. It's kind of, I would want to start a tradition where when a guest comes on, I kind of want to just, people who are watching this like, who the hell's that head in the box? I want to know about that immediately, because else they're going to just be distracted. So Yukiko, head in the box. My topic is basically, who are you? What is Yukiko Draws, Intergalactic Circus? What's up with that? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
Where to start?
Start
Who am
anywhere. Wherever your brainium goes.
Well, I am a graphic designer by day and I guess illustrator by night, and that's kind of what Yukiko Draws is around. Well, I kind of treat it like a daily journal, but like a drawing journal, essentially.
That's what I love about it too. Yeah.
Thanks, yeah. So whatever like funny or frustrating that happened throughout the day, I would try to visualize it somehow into a drawing and post it online. So like it's no different than sharing your moment through photos. Like you do something interesting or exciting, you take a picture and then you
Except for
upload
it's totally different because it's like graphically there you can see in like this cartoon expressed, which I think is perfect.
Yeah, I get to like put my little spin on it, because if I took a picture of me like, you know, on the bath on the toilet or something, it's not as exciting as like a drawing of it. It's
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I like to do. I think it like it kind of started 2 years ago for do you guys know about Inktober? It's basically like a hashtag that this artist, illustrator, comic artist Jake Parker started called Inktober.
Okay.
And basically for the month of October, artists are encouraged to post one drawing that's inked, so not like a quick sketch, but something that actually, you know, you took the time to ink through, and post it every day on social media for the entire month of October. So 2 years ago, in 2014, I saw some friends do it, and it was already like October 2nd or 3rd or something. I was just like, oh man, like did I like miss the opportunity? But there's like, no, just go ahead and do it. But I didn't have anything interesting to draw, so I was just like, okay, well, I'll just do like a quick selfie of me just drawing myself with like a mirror reflection. And that was my first Inktober, the first two Inktobers. One was me like just as I am, like mirror selfie. And
so
then
that mirror one's where you got started at?
I guess so, yeah. And then I didn't even think too much of it because I drew different things throughout that month. But I ended up drawing a lot of just me doing stuff, because I'm not really like a concept artist, like a fantastical artist who's just like imagines random stuff and, you know, draws it. Kind of like Matt Core, like I'm not like him at all. I'm more like just pick up whatever happens every day and translate it into a drawing sort of thing. So that just happened naturally, and people seem to like it. So that was encouraging. I kept doing it, and I did it again the following year for Inktober. And but I would do it even within between Octobers too.
Yeah.
So just kind of transition into like not daily. I try to do it daily, but you know it's usually like every other day, every 3 days sort of thing.
It does feel like you do it enough times in a week where it feels like it's a natural part of my Facebook feed now.
Oh, good.
So I subscribe. Right, so go to if you guys are hearing this, go to facebook.com, look for Yukiko Draws, and just if you want like a fun little, it feels like a fun Sunday morning cartoon for adults because it's very relatable.
That's the part that I like about it so much. Is it's so relatable.
Yeah.
So like your daily experience.
Right. And it's just gonna be in your feed like every so often. It feels good. It feels like it's just very, very like natural part of the day.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and so like I'm trying to think of a couple other ones.
I got one I want to say real quick. Okay.
Yeah.
So one I was worried about is that I know that you watch the show often, so you're one of our fans here. I was worried because I saw the image of the one you drew of the man bun, and he said man bun. You got these big scissors, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a topic about man buns. I'm wearing a man bun. I'm like, Chico's gonna be pissed at me.
It's because they're terrible, Rocco, and you should feel terrible.
Yeah.
They're coming around.
No, they're not.
No, they're going out. They're out.
Out of
No,
style.
they're back in.
No, they're
Bring
gone.
them in.
You should do like a man like two buns instead.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Switch it up.
And pigtails.
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh my
I
god.
guarantee
Long
you'll be a trendsetter.
You would be something.
You look really cool, Rocco. You should do it.
You guys know this guy named Ladybeard?
No.
He's like an Australian wrestler / heavy metal singer, and he's
Oh, really?
like He's kind of like big in. I think it started out in like Hong Kong, and then like now he's big in Japan. He collaborates with Baby Metal, you know, the girl metal band, like girls like dancing around, but it's like heavy metal music.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's like this big burly Australian guy with like a beard and everything, but he's got long hair and he wears makeup and basically like. But it's not really drag. Like he just looks like a really.
He's so much like a dude, like a lumberjack. But
yeah,
wearing,
yeah.
Like,
but
dresses.
he poses like super cute. Like he got like
trendsetter.
the poses down and like does like.
I think I have seen this. Yeah.
I have not seen this.
You guys have to look him up.
I'll have to look this guy up.
Yeah.
So
He's a trendsetter.
I was just looking at some of your pictures. They're awesome. Is the one with the guy brushing his teeth? Is that Alan?
Yeah.
Or supposed to be?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He makes a cameo from time to time.
Yeah.
I like the unexpected nap, you know, like where it's just like,
Oh, yeah.
like that's totally relatable to, I'm sure, to like everybody, where you're just like, I'm gonna lay down for a quick second, don't expect to go to sleep, and then everybody passes out, and you're like half covered with your blankets, half not,
Yeah.
like laying all over each other.
One thing, so the one that like actually caught my eye was more of a recent one that I felt like I was just staring at for a while, and it was the one where Alan is playing video games in the morning with a big smile on his face. It's a PS4 controller, and you were just having a dance party while brushing your teeth
Yeah.
in the morning. And I was like, oh, it's super relatable, but it's a fun capture into your like life and like just your relationship with each other. It's just really cool to see that, and it was just like fun to like just imagine like. Yukiko dance around, have a good time, and like Alan's like, yeah, this is fun, playing like Uncharted or something. Like,
That's
really
exactly
cool.
what was happening.
Yeah, it was really well depicted.
you.
Can you talk a little bit, maybe you touched on it a bit, but could you talk about a little bit maybe your process in
Yeah,
how you?
sure. Well, my main thing that right now is I have right here. I draw on these like toned papers.
Yeah.
So instead of like a white sketchbook, it's already a little bit brown. And the way I came across this process is kind of accidental. So I used to draw on just like a regular white sketchbook. But earlier this year, a friend of mine, also an artist, tagged me on like a Facebook challenge that was post a personal art every day for the next 5 days.
Yeah.
So just post one art one day and then just do it for 5 days. And I was just like, I don't really have anything like worthwhile, so I'm just gonna do something new. And I have this brown paper that I got, not to draw art on, but to send out prints in, because I also do like celebrity portraits and sell it on Etsy. But when I send it out, like I don't want it just to put the print in the envelopes. I have these brown craft papers to sandwich it in, and then ship it.
Gotcha. To protect
So I was
it.
like, okay, maybe I'll do something fun with this brown paper. So I was basically experimenting and started using color pencils, which actually popped really well because all the waxy stuff just sits really well on top of the textured brown paper.
Yeah.
So it looked really cool. So I kept playing with that, and then I went to the art store to get more brown paper, just look around what they had, and they had these toned sketchbooks. So that's kind of what I started on.
It's definitely like the characteristic, like your style, right? It's just the like light brown. So then whenever you see that now, like it's consistent, and
Yeah,
I
exactly.
immediately
Yeah.
think, right? Yukiko Draws.
Yeah, I think it helps with like the branding
Exactly.
of Yukiko Draws, and also it's less daunting when I open the sketchbook that it's not this like blank slate staring at me.
That's
Yeah.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah,
So,
like
like,
the
yeah.
white paper is terrifying to me. Like even when I do the
It's-
celebrity portraits, I try to do it on toned paper, and it
Wow.
just kind of gives it a little more depth. So my process usually starts. It could be like sometimes I just go ahead and start drawing in a sketchbook, but a lot of times I get an idea and I'll be at work and I'm just like, fuck, like I need to take this idea out of my brain and put it somewhere. So I just take like
Yeah.
a Post-it and do like a super quick, like it's like 4 squiggles just to like put it out there, like visual, like okay, this is kind of what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I come home and I just sketch it out with a pencil first, and I go over it with a pen. I think this is Micron, maybe. No, I had the Copic multiliner, which is really good. I used to use Microns, but this one's kind of like better, thicker, blacker ink.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
It is.
and then I fill in the colors with color pencils, Prismacolor, which has like really rich color. It's like an artist color pencil, so it's different than like the color pencils that you use in like kindergarten, where
Yeah.
it's mostly wax. Like this one's heavily pigmented, which helps it pop against the brown. And then I go over it again in the multiliner in black just to kind of
Make
define it
pop
a little better.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. And again, like the brown paper really helps because even if I have just one simple thing, it looks less unfinished than if it was
Yeah.
on a white paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Like that
yeah,
concept.
that's kind of the process, and I try to do it as often as I can. But there's a lot of days where I just sit down and just like, okay, I'm going to draw something, whether I have an idea or not, and then just try something. I was like, no, this looks terrible. Like, today's just not my day.
Is there one that you've like wanted to get to but just couldn't? Like, is there one that almost like you had to throw away but you really wanted it to work kind of deal? Like you wish could have been brought in?
Not right now, but there was one that I was kind of working in my head for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's the one where I wanted to convey the idea of, and this came to me right after I guest starred on the Superhouse podcast, which is my very first podcast ever. And I was just like, oh my God, this process is like it's kind of terrifying, because right after you stop recording or you get off the air, I'm just like, I could have said it this way, I could have said it that way.
Yeah.
Like I had so many clever things to say, but it always comes to me like 15, 20 minutes after the fact, and not just podcasts, but in everyday life, I'll be having conversations with
arguments with people. Ever do that where you, or when you were a kid, you come home, you're like, man, I could have said it to that guy.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing.
Like, perfect zinger, like right after.
Yeah. Like, can we start this over?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to like find a way to visualize that for the longest time. I was just like, like how do I nail that? And then one day, when I was at work, just kind of eating lunch, all of a sudden it just came to me like, I'm gonna draw what's it called? A sand clock, sand timer.
I was just looking at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hourglass.
Yeah, the hourglass. Yeah.
Sand timer.
Sand clock.
Yeah.
Hey, it still makes sense. I was
Um,
just like sand timer. I was thinking about that one a little too deep. Like, the beach. Like,
And I was
what
kinda
are we talking
thinking
about here?
of, the scene in Aladdin where Jafar traps Jasmine in
Yeah.
hourglass, and
Yeah.
she's like, it's kind of like a race against time. So that conveyed the time part, and I just threw some thought bubbles in there to visualize like the clever thoughts that I might have.
Yeah.
So that's the one that kind of was brewing in my head for a long while.
Cool.
Well, I'll tell you what, like as a person that's just viewing your Yukiko Draws all the time, I'd say it feels like you're producing them on a daily basis because of how much are coming out.
Yeah.
To say that, to take away from yourself to say that you don't come up with it often, I don't know if that's true or not, because at least it feels like you are producing them.
Yeah, I think like maybe once a week or twice a week.
Yeah, it's like
but that's it. Like that's still a lot of content.
Yeah.
It's like a personal diary through like a picture and an image, and I love that. Like Clay was saying, you can see exactly like how you how you behaved or how you acted or what you were thinking within those situations.
Yeah, it's kind of like a fun, like not a coping mechanism, but helps me enjoy my day a little more too, because I'm kind of like looking out for ideas, like, ooh, what can I draw today? Like, how can I convey this today? And
makes you more aware.
Yeah, and it makes frustrating situations a little better, because I was thinking, this kind of goes with Clay's previous question, but a couple weeks ago, Alan and I were sleeping in like Saturday, Sunday, it was a weekend, and the fire alarm went off, and I don't know how early it was, but it felt really early. And we were just kind of like sleeping through it, just like, this is probably a false alarm, like wait till like it goes off or whatever. But your brain's already kind of like awake, and as I was laying there trying to sleep, I was thinking like, like maybe there's a way to visualize this. I haven't really come up with it yet, but I was trying to but just kind of getting my brain working that way took it off the frustration. I was like, this is so annoying, So
it's a good way to vent and get that stuff off your chest, right?
Exactly.
Change the way you perceive that situation.
Do you have a vision? Like I would definitely call this an extreme success, because I think you have something like 300 plus likes on Facebook. It's like growing rapidly. It's super fun to watch you kind of come out with new content. But do you have like an overall vision or thought of where you would want this to go next potentially?
I mean, I obviously would. I don't know. I mean, it kind of, for me, the process is more fun than the outcome, and it's obviously great to get like followers and the likes, and like I'll like get super pumped whenever that happens. But me getting to do it every single day, or every other day or whatever, is what's fun of it. But it would be cool to have it kind of be like a tangible product, whether it's like a book published or something like that. Just some sort of like a accumulation of everything that I've done. Like,
and like a hardcover.
Exactly. Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Or make T-shirts with it.
Make T-shirts. Yeah,
that's true too.
It's always good. And then you have another kind of creative outlet as well. That's a little bit more recent.
That's super recent. And it was kind of inspired by you guys, actually. So I was talking to my friend Rachel, and whatever we were talking about, it was a topic that you guys had covered. So I was just like, Alan, my boyfriend, he is in this
wait,
podcast.
your boyfriend's Alan?
Yeah,
What?
I thought he was gay.
Whoa.
Look at this guy.
Okay.
No, I think anybody who listens to this has heard your name a ton of times.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
really cool probably see the face.
That's kind of why I tune in. I'm just like, okay, well, like, what are they talking? Are you talking about me? Like, am I being represented like accurately?
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
Like when I did Super Saiyan last week,
Oh, that was so
That was
good.
hilarious.
or no, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, this
What
was
did-
my.
Did you think
Saturday.
Alan what did Alan? You said something like
I thought he like chopped his arm off.
that's right.
I
It
don't know
sounded
why.
super intense. Because first he did like the first Super Saiyan when he was just like and I heard it, but then it stopped. I was like, okay, do I need to check on this? I'll just kind of wait a little bit, and then I heard it again. And I was like, okay, something's going on. Like, let me just get up and see. It was just him recording.
It's like the fire alarm.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, you should draw me with, like, on my arm detached in another room.
I'll go
Yeah.
Super Saiyan.
On the podcast.
Okay, sorry, we cut you off.
Yeah. So I was showing my friend Rachel you guys' podcast, and she was like, "Oh, cool! Like, it would be fun if you and I had a podcast, because she and I kind of talk about daily stuff, but with like an interesting twist that only comes out of our identity, or I guess like background."
Mm-hmm.
Rachel is a Black American, African American, and I'm Japanese, but grew up all over the place. It's called TCK, Third Culture Kid. I touch on it a little bit on my podcast, but
What does TCK stand for?
Third Culture Kid. So it has nothing to do with like
Okay,
the
sorry.
third world. The third refers to
Just means like you were all over the place.
yeah. So by definition, a TCK is someone who spent a significant amount of their developmental years, so like childhood, outside of their passport country. So, which for me is Japan. Like, I'm born in Japan, my parents were Japanese, but I started living abroad at the age of 2 or 3, and I've
Wow.
been bouncing around different countries, like moving every few years. So that's kind of contributed to my cultural identity and
Yeah.
just how I carry myself in the world.
Do you
Kind
think
of like a mixed match sort of deal.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed match, but also no full ownership over any culture. Like, I don't
Okay,
really
yeah.
consider myself fully Japanese.
Right.
I don't consider myself fully like Canadian or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think that that's the big difference between, because what would they call someone who, let's say, was born in Japan, but very quickly their parents moved to America? They call them
That's
first
like
generation kids, right?
Yeah.
Is-
There's also a term called CCK, cross cultural kid, and that's like a little bit broader term to accommodate like immigrants or people who have like parents like from different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they all have similarities and some overlap.
And you would say the biggest difference would just be they're probably just more country specific if they grew up without jumping over.
Yeah. Like, I kind of like the longest place I've ever lived anywhere is 4.5 years, and that was Savannah,
wow.
Georgia. So
Ha!
yeah,
Wow, where you went to college.
yeah, exactly. So
That's crazy.
anyway, so we have this kind of bizarre background. If you want to know more about my TCK-ness, that's one of our episodes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Where can they
Nice
find
plug.
your stuff? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Where do you find it at?
you can find it under the Superhouse podcast umbrella. So that's like on iTunes, SoundCloud. Yeah, I think
Those
that's
are the
kind
major
of where it is right now. But yeah, you just look up Superhouse podcast.
And then look for Intergalactic Circus.
Yeah, that's the name of our podcast. And so we had this idea like rolling around for a while, like, oh, we should do a podcast, but with just everyday life and everything, we kind of set it aside, like, oh yeah, we'll revisit it sometime. And then I stumbled across the Superhouse podcast, which is another podcast done by fellow SCAD graduates, and they invited me on their show. And I did that, and I was just like, oh, like, that's fun. And it wasn't really hard. Like, I don't know what I was imagining, but it was, it was more fun than like a technical challenge or anything like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they actually offered to kind of help us out with actual like sound editing and posting, which was kind of the big obstacle that we didn't really want. Rachel and I didn't really have time to dive into.
Like my idea that I was coming up with earlier, and I was like, no, about the whole fest.
Yeah, someone else could do it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like
so
someone
that's a
else
great
can do
idea,
Lego,
but
so-
the rest of the
Yo,
stuff.
where's the video guy? Let's get him to do that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we're under the Superhouse podcast, but we consider it like a spin-off, like our own twist on it with our own opinions.
I think, man, if I could sum up what Intergalactic Circus is from my point of view, I think it's highly entertaining, but it's such a great mixed bag of content in terms of like, I mean, for instance, you're talking about cultural and societal privilege on one hand,
Yeah.
but in the very same episode, you're also talking about dick ponds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're getting such a great contrast of funny and serious and
Oh, thanks.
thought-provoking
Yeah, that's-
content. And for those of you guys who don't know what dick ponds is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What to say?
You have to watch the episode.
you Google. I will just say,
I'm
in a world,
gonna have to watch the episode.
in a
Yeah.
world where men have period-like things, they use dick ponds to help them control some of that bleeding. But there's more to it. It's very fascinating. It's very interesting. I would go and check
You're
it
gonna
out.
have to check that out.
Yeah. it's really funny.
Thanks, Clay. That's kind of what we were hoping to go for is, and it's also kind of how Rachel and I already talk. Like
Yeah.
that's how our conversations go. We'll talk about silly dick bonds and everyday life stuff, but with a little bit more serious undertone, because that's something that she and I were, not forced, but like exposed to from just a young age, like our general upbringing.
Yeah.
So we wanted to kind of convey that without being preachy or be, lecturing people about it and make it more conversational and obviously have it be open to everyone's input as well. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, it's super funny. It's super
Thank you.
entertaining. Does anybody else have any other questions about that in particular?
No.
Intergalactic Circus?
I'm gonna have to check it out though. I mean, I've
Yeah,
got
for
questions
sure.
now about dick ponds.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like,
So how often does it come out? It's every.
We try to do it every Tuesday. It's fluctuated a little bit. We're only on our like third or fourth episode,
Right.
so. But every Tuesday on iTunes or SoundCloud, Intergalactic Circus under Superhouse Podcast.
What is the next episode's title? Do you know? Can you share that?
We just recorded it last night. Actually,
Oh.
we're gonna do it a little bit lighter because the first two were like on the heavy side. Again, like that was kind of like to lay the foundation of how Rachel and I communicate. But this one is on social media and internet nostalgia. So tune
Internet
into that.
nostalgia. Okay. Obviously, we won't
Angel
go into-
Fire.
Oh.
Yeah, no, we talk about Angel Fire
Wow. Okay.
and my very first website, but you gotta tune in to find out what that was about.
Cool. Live journals and such.
Hey guys, let's have an episode right now about nostalgia, internet.
Alan's
exactly
topic. Awesome.
Stolen.
Anything else, Yukiko, that you would like to mention? We've talked about Yukiko Draws. We've talked about Intergalactic Circus. We've talked about a little bit of who you are and where you come from and your cultural background. Anything else you wanted to, and even also the guys, Superhouse being amazing and lending a hand out, like they're very cool.
Yeah.
Anything else that you wanted to mention or talk about before we move on?
No.
Yeah. All right.
Who had the better house, the Maelstrom house or the Super house?
Ooh. Let's start some drama.
I mean, it's the same house.
Yeah, except the insides would be different.
Ours would be
We were
covered in
there.
like puke and
we
jungle
had-
juice.
Yes. It was very
And
sticky.
theirs would have, I don't know.
It's the same
'cause I never
thing.
went into the trees.
Rock bands. Yeah,
Just a
and beer.
different couch.
I would,
Yeah.
I would.
Probably,
I
yeah.
have to say, I've talked to.
They had
many
live
people.
music, I think, more often, right?
They did. That was pretty cool. But we had great DJs and great themed parties, such as '80s parties, and what was we had like pick your. It was like a party where you'd pick
Who's who?
who's who party, where you would dress up like somebody else that you knew that was going to that party. It was really fun to like figure out who was dressed as who. And it was
Yeah.
Who did you guys dress up as? I don't remember who I went as.
I went as Ryan, so like I
Oh,
stuck
right,
my chin
okay.
and I had like popped collars and polos and I was trying to be very
I think I
offensive. to him.
remember that photo too.
Yeah, yeah. But that was
Yeah.
good. And I talked to a ton of I'm talking like hundreds of people, and I've asked them this question: what was better experience, Maelstrom House or Superhouse? And they said without a doubt that Maelstrom was 10 times better in every way than Superhouse. They just said that they would never say this out loud, and they said
Yeah.
for me not to share this, but of course I'm going to. They said that it was actually not that impressive. So if you're hearing this Superhouse, I'm sorry, but Maelstrom is way better.
I'm friends with both sides. I'm just gonna keep my mouth
Just be
shut.
sweet enough.
Yeah, just be.